So the next part is looking at the credibility. So we did the summaries. We're going to look at what to do with this author background stuff, which is kind of going back to that question, who is behind the text and why? So some things to ask yourself or consider. And this is also part of like the CRAP test when we're going through like the authority of the text. What is the author's expertise? Like kind of thing. You don't necessarily have to name whether they have scholarly expertise or professional or personal, but it's important kind of groundwork thing to consider for yourself when you're deciding what to say, what's relevant. Do they have personal expertise, professional, or scholarly? That can help you figure out like what you want to say about it. What proof exists for this expertise, especially for the scholarly stuff, and for the professional. If it's a journalist, they might have professional expertise, but you need to be able to find like relevant affiliations, publications, especially making sure their publications and their like what they write about is specific. Maybe they have awards, things like that. Remember, you want to watch out for those really vague, unverifiable author background things or people you can't find any information about. Their education or profession. Does the author have a stake or bias that is notable in the text? Maybe a particular like, especially if it's a super opinionated, like usually you can tell bias because you can hear a lot from the writer, often not as much from sources, but you can hear a lot of very emotional language and very strong language. We're talking about the issue, and that's a linguistic telltale sign of bias. Is being overly emotional and revealing what your stake is. You might be able to tell like if the author like really has like a political bias or a certain slant that's worth noting that's impacting the text, or you can tell that there's way more opinion than there is sources. Strong language, emotion, you can talk about that. Does the publisher have a particular stake in the issue? Again, political slant for news is always important. And noting like maybe what their reputation is, if they're respected, things like that. Bias also tends to exist with things like personal expertise and experience from organizations, blogs that are not academic, documentaries, and it could be worth noting for those as well. So again, like here's that example that I already kind of talked about. This one is, again, like what she notes is this is from a scholar. So we have their profession, like assistant professor, so their rank, almost assistant professor of psychology at this university. You could verify that. What their expertise is in, which is important. Again, like you might see some of those vague, like author bios that just say like this person is a freelance writer with a degree in English, but they're writing about technology. Not relevant. He also coordinates neuropsychology assessment services. So we know like another thing, like another affiliation and work related thing that he does that is part of his expertise and fuels that. So we have a lot of that for this person. Something, I guess to watch out for, is first this is a website article from the American Legion site that talks about how people need to do more with the intention of healing our physically injured veterans. So there's no author here, like exact author. This is just from a hired writer from the American Legion. That happens sometimes, but you still have a publisher to talk about. And here they did it with the American Legion. The American Legion is a nonpartisan organization devoted to the support of veterans. That's important to note. In this article, it states interesting facts and statistics on amputations. We did kind of this already. The website also gives people reasons why they should help our military. There's a little bit of the author coming out. It sounds like it's from the author. It could be why the website also gives people reasons why the American Legion thinks we should help our military veterans and ways they can help. This website is a very credible source. You shouldn't have to say that. Because it is a well-known organization that has been up and helping our veterans and servicemen since 1919. This is helpful information. It's good to have information, include information about the like organization or news source and things like that, especially if there's no direct author. You want to avoid this. Sorry, let me get back to it. No author takes credit for their work. You don't have to say that. If you can't find the author, tell readers about the organization, company, or publication. You don't have to state that there's no author. You just tell us the information that you do have. Again, The other thing I want to notice is they do have a really nice addition of the organization, stake, or purpose. They don't state like any bias or anything like that. Like the reader can, make their mind up about that. But the fact that the American Legion is a nonpartisan organization devoted to the support of veterans shows like this is what their stake is. This is why they care about the issue. And a lot of times, like you can pull those from like mission statements and things like that. And it's important to have that information about organizations, especially that are behind the text that you decide to include. And that is the end. So summary details, or sorry, summary, like the main point, the summary details, and what it adds to the conversation, and then the credibility, the who is behind it and why, information about the author, publisher, stake, that kind of stuff. And now you're going to go practice.